adopting the agile framework, thinking in terms of minimum viable templates. You're going to invest once the data shows that there is value in the direction and that you need to pursue. So this is a skill set that is equally important on the product management side as well as product marketing side.
You are listening to This is Product Marketing, brought to you by Product Marketing Hive, the product marketing community that gives back. I'm your host, Louise Liu. In this episode, Nishanth Kadiyala, Senior Product Manager at Walmart Connect, shares his thoughts on product management and product marketing. Let's dive into it right now. Thank you for joining us today, Nishanth.
Hey, Louise, thank you for having me on this podcast. It's my pleasure.
Great. So perhaps we can get started with a little bit of background introduction. Maybe you can share your career trajectory with our audience.
Yeah, for sure. So I come from India. I did software engineering for 3 years. I moved to the US, pursued my MBA at UNC Chapel Hill, and then took every opportunity to build my resume towards product marketing. And then I did B2B product marketing for 3 years, full time. I've always been like a curious guy. So for me, okay, the adjacent spaces are like sales and product management. And given the fact that I was technical, I was like, okay, really curious about, okay, what's the black box of product management holding for me. And as part of that, I started exploring product management opportunities, landed my first PM role at AT&T, during which I launched several products, one of them AT&T TV. And after that, my next opportunity, which is Walmart offsite advertising. And that's where I am right now. I'm a senior PM at Walmart Connect today, and I handle the offsite display advertising for them.
So you have been in both roles, the product marketing and product management. In your own words, what is product management and product marketing to you?
Sure. At the very crux of it, it's essentially building products versus taking that product to the right customer through the right channels. I mean, that's like oversimplification, but a typical product manager will be thinking in terms of, okay, what are our business goals? Who are our customers? Or who are our prospective customers? What are the pain points? How are they solving it today? How can I make a difference to this world? Right. And then they have a strategy, they create a roadmap, and then they start rallying teams towards that particular vision. And along the way, they'll have to work with a bunch of cross-functional teams, and the primary stakeholders in this case, or primary supporters, would be the execution teams, right? In technology product, it's usually the dev teams, but in other cases where you're launching much more physical products, it could be operation team, it could be retail stores, it could be a bunch of supporters along the way, right? So that's product management, figuring out what needs to be built and how can I add value to the customer and how can I differentiate myself in a crowded market. And depending on the size of the organization, this function can either be owned by a single person, or it can be divided between, okay, the product vision will be the director, and then each of the pillars will be with different product leaders, and then underneath it, they'll have senior product managers and stuff like that. And moving on to the product marketing side, this is where you're wondering, okay, I have a product, but how do I take it to the right customer through the right channel in the right format, right? So that involves a lot of customer journey mapping, understanding who your customers are, creating the personas, creating the messaging, uh, working very closely with the product managers and figuring out, okay, what is it that your product brings to the market, to the customer, and why would someone move from product A to product B? So depending on the cycle and depending on the number of competitors in the market, the product marketing function will take different forms and shape. The usual example that I give to people who are starting the careers in the product side is like, imagine a restaurant, right? In a restaurant, there's a main chef who is working with sous chefs and butlers and other people to create new products. So new items, new dishes in the restaurant. So his job is to understand, okay, what am I good at? What is my team good at? what is the general palette in this particular region, and what can I do uniquely relative to other restaurants in the area, right? He's thinking very specific to the product, what to create, how do I create, and how do I make my customers love the dish, right? So that's very similar to product management. He's going to have his team, he's going to build products that customers love. And on the flip side, product marketers are like the restaurant managers. They're the ones helping get the word out there. They're probably doing social media advertising. They're probably doing print media. There's tons of ways to get to the customer. And once they come to your restaurant, they're also the ones who are creating the menus. They're helping customers choose the right items, right? So at a broad level, like if we were to go back to the initial definition, uh, on one end, product managers are creating the right products, but more importantly, on the product marketing side, the marketers are connecting with the managers and understanding who those users are, how do they search for their problems, where are they typically shopping, and get to the place where these customers are and have a conversation with them and bring them down the funnel all the way from awareness to consideration to buying the product and retaining them in the long term. So again, this is a job that both product managers and product marketers need to work together to excel.
Yes, yes. I really like your example to explain the differences between the two roles. But how about the similarities between the two roles? I feel like a lot of people are talking about why they're different, but there's actually a lot of overlaps in the two roles. And then what do you think from your experiences? Like, what are the similarities?
That's a great question. Like, I mean, when I was starting my product journey, this is one of the first things I was trying to understand. Like, having been through both these roles over the last 10 years, I can tell that there's like a ton of overlap. And that's the reason I actually call them like the yin and yang of the product, right? So they are both equally important for the success of a product. In order for us to win a customer, it is equally important to understand the pain points and build the right product as it is to bring that product to the customer at the right time. And the skill sets surprisingly are very similar. Like the first and foremost is OCD. When I say OCD, it's the good kind of OCD. Product leaders need to be obsessively customer driven, OCD. And what I mean with that is to be able to put yourself in the shoes of a power user, and the decision makers, and look at your product and say, okay, this is how I would look at this product and search for this product and talk about this product. So this is a skill set that is equally important on the product management side as well as product marketing side, because only when you truly understand the customer, the consumer, and the players alongside are you able to have a narrative that appeals to everyone in the organization. Like there are users, absolutely. Like the first time I was marketing a technology product, I would write tutorials so that the developers are able to see the value of the product. But end of the day, they're not the decision makers. There's like someone above them in the product management space or in the VP of engineering space, and they are thinking in terms of, okay, what's the ROI I'm able to drive using this product, right? So this kind of an understanding is critical even on the product management side. Now that I'm building the products, I have to understand all the players, how they view and what's their existing solution, how are they solving it today. And it is very important for them to build a solution that is like frictionless. Like managing the change is extremely critical for a product manager. So that's number one, like being obsessively customer driven, having OCD. And number two, I would say having a data compass. By data compass, it's like a very simple idea. You have to be data driven. So once a PM or a PMM sets a vision for their product or a target for their product launch, they need to be constantly calibrating how they're performing. Even before the motions kick in, they have to figure out, okay, what are the KPIs at the various stages? And if they are headed in the right direction, monitor them. And if something is missing, you pivot and make sure that you're investing additional time to either troubleshoot it or double down on it, right? So there's always a ton of information out there. You could be looking at the website data, you could be looking at the CRM data, you could be looking at the pipeline or what the press is talking about our particular product, right? So there's social media. There's information everywhere. It's about understanding what data to look at, agreeing on at the beginning, what are the KPIs, while building a product, while adopting a product, while launching a product. So all of them are equally important. So that's where the second one is data driven. I would also put third one, and a very important one is like adopting the agile framework, thinking in terms of minimum viable templates. So it's always thinking in terms of how do I go from point A to point B without making a direct jump there. I want to create mini milestones in between so that I am making sure, okay, this is a direction I want to pursue in. So similarly on the product marketing side, I came up with this minimum viable marketing framework. And what that means is, okay, think of a product launch or like a new positioning for your product. You want to, okay, let's say all these days you've been focusing on uh, performance, for example, and tomorrow you want to pivot and say, oh, performance is interesting, but also the fact that it is frictionless is also an important aspect, or like secure is an important aspect for CIOs. So that's the hypothesis. So I could go ahead and at this point work with a Forrester or Gartner and create like a white paper, but that's going to cost me a ton. Versus what I could do is I could probably get a jump on a sales call and check what the customer is talking about and understand if they really value this. I could run a mini survey. I could actually write a blog, or I could run Google AdWords, and then gradually get to the upper side of the curve and get to focus groups, eventually to conferences, webinars, case studies, product enhancements, right? So all of these are investments that you have to constantly monitor. So is this the direction that we want to head in? So the data compass and MVM framework or the MVP framework, there is a certain bit of overlap. You're going to invest once the data shows that there is value in the direction and that you need to put. So those are the common skills, like one, customer obsession, two, data, three, thinking in terms of minimum effort to learn the most about a given direction.
I see. Yeah. Thank you for the advice. And these are really good. Your experience, product marketing and product management, both roles, it's actually not that common. So, do you believe that most people would be a better fit for one or the other?
It's actually a very interesting question. So I would look at it from a couple of dimensions, and X and Y graph, right? X and Y axis. And in there, one of them is like the skills needed to succeed in a role. And the other one is like the happiness that you get out of a role. Like how much are you able to enjoy the role? Completely different dimensions. People should always think about their role in terms of, am I good at it? Because if you're not good at it, eventually you'll like tire yourself out. You'll have like existential crisis probably, and just be mad at yourself for being not able to deliver. And in the other scenario, you might be like a great coder. Like, I mean, I used to be a decent software developer back in the day, but I was not having fun. It was not able to drive the completeness that I was looking for from my career, right? So that's why I had to pivot to product marketing. So when people are talking about, okay, will they be a good fit for product management and product marketing? It depends. Like first and foremost is skills, right? When we talk about product management, there's like a heavy focus on technology these days. So it is important that you're able to have a conversation with the developers. You're able to understand architecture a little bit, and you're able to empathize with the consumers, right? So here it's all about taking the information in the market, in the customers, and building a product that is internal, and you get the satisfaction out of the fact that you're able to add value to your customers, the fact that you're able to move the bottom line for your company, right? So it's a little bit different. On the product marketing front, like especially if you're a B2B tech company, you will still want to understand technology, but not to the same level as a product manager. Because in product management, you're building the products, you have to double click into the overall life cycle much more deeply. On product marketing, again, ideally product marketers, like if I were going to go back into product marketing today, I would do the same. But it's all right to just understand, okay, what's the high level benefit, who the customer is, what's their language, and be able to connect with them. So technology is not such a big hurdle in that case. It's about being able to communicate, being able to represent the company across a wide variety of media. Like back in the day, I had to write a ton of blogs. I had to participate in webinars. I had to speak with analysts. I had to actually travel around the globe and represent our company in keynotes, right? So these are a different kind of skill set. This is more about external communication. even in product management, you're communicating, but it's primarily internal and occasionally external. But with product marketing, it's primarily external and occasionally internal when you're like enabling the sales or like connecting with the ops team or like the resellers and stuff like that, right? So like I said, the first parameter is which skills does your experience align with, or which skills do you want to eventually grow into? What do you enjoy? And based on that, you can pick one or the other.
Which one do you enjoy most?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, I love product marketing. That part I cannot live without. So if at some point I'm having to pick and I get to pick, I'll probably pick product marketing. But if I have the choice, it'll be both. I enjoy both of them. I want to build products that are able to sell themselves, that are being built with the understanding of the marketing journey. So every time I'm thinking of a product, it sure, I mean, it's the same problem either way. Like product managers need to understand the product marketing world so that they're building products and thinking through all the various steps that product marketing will need help with and they can guide them with. And product marketers, on the other hand, they should be able to empathize with, okay, this is what product management is. I enjoy outward communication, but I should be able to help them with their roadmap. I should be able to help them uh, manage their timeline. Like if something is slipping, I should be able to empathize and say, okay, this is why it's slipping. So let me control that communication accordingly, kind of thing. Did that answer your question?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I like your answer. So, product managers and product marketing managers often work closely together. So, as a product manager now, looking back at your product marketing roles, what have you found as blind spots as product marketing manager before?
What blind spot? What are you talking about? No, I'm just kidding. Like, I definitely feel like, I mean, there's like a ton of things I can do different. And that was the whole point of moving on to the product management side, to be able to figure out, okay, what do we mean by building product takes a month? I never really understood what a sprint was, or like why would something slip? Like very often in the product management world, there are commitments and then there are delays. I'm sure a lot of us experience that. And when I was a product marketer, I was a lot more empathetic to the sales side, and I was not able to understand, okay, how can we not have visibility into what we are building and why would it slip by month or two, right? Like a couple of days I would understand. Like if you're like an individual contributor, you're able to control that much more effectively, versus with as a product manager, you're coordinating with a bunch of different teams, and a ton of them are always like moving pieces, and you're like saying, okay, this is probably where it would be in 1.5 months. So I will take the base case scenario and plan accordingly. But then the base case scenario, there will be complications and eventually you miss out on it. So if I were a product marketer today and a product manager is missing his deadlines, I will understand where the slip up has occurred. But at the same time, again, like manage those messages internally and externally accordingly. Like depending on how complex the initiative is, I will control the messages accordingly. Because if it's a tier one or tier two release, the likelihood of it slipping or it becoming complicated, it becoming larger, the scope, right, that is higher. So then I will take a different approach towards messaging and how much will I start pushing at what time frame before the launch. Versus if it's a tier three or tier four launch, the uncertainty is like much smaller, right? In that case, I can be like a lot more confident and less worried about missing the timeline. So that's one. And yeah, number two, like, I mean, I know product managers are considered the CEO of the product and that they need to know everything about the product, everything about the market. So they are considered the gurus. But again, like empathy towards their role is super critical because a product involves a ton of different facets, a ton of different users, markets, and a competition might mean like 100 different things depending on the context of the product, right? So they might not have all the information. So as a PMM, I would partner with them to identify their blind spots because they're supposed to be doing stuff, but at the same time, it's a single person trying to scale across all the dimensions of the product, barring product marketing, of course. So uh, it's my job to understand, okay, where can I help the product manager uh, become more knowledgeable, right? So it's like working with them much more closely. Like back in the day, I would assume that they understood the market, and when I pose them a question, they will have the answer or the best answer. But now it's more about going back to them and understanding, okay, if they know the answer. So the first question cannot be, okay, what should I do in this particular scenario? What is the best answer against this competitor? Versus it could be like, okay, do we have enough information to go against this competitor? Can we create a battle card with the information we have? If we don't, then let me go ahead and create like a internal tutorial rumble so that there's enough research that the dev team can do, so that you are becoming equipped, the dev team is understanding what needs to be done, and the PMM has what it needs to address this particular problem, right? So again, like it's embracing their world, understanding the world, and acknowledging the fact that a single person cannot scale. Like PMs should be acknowledging that PMMs cannot scale, and PMMs should be acknowledging that PMs cannot scale. Like those are the only two groups of people that are very similar, even in terms of the way they're treated. Like I always call them like the product leaders of an organization, as like it's like being photographers. Like imagine you taking pictures of people, they are super happy and proud of themselves when the picture is right, like they are going to celebrate it. Versus they'll think, okay, I posed well, oh, the sun was at the right angle, like I chose the right time to do it, right? But when the picture is bad, it's almost like, I mean, me taking a picture for my wife every single time. If it's a good picture, it's because of her. If it's a bad picture, it's because of me. So product managers and product marketers are similar. So when the success is there, it's usually because the sales did a terrific job of selling, or the dev team did a terrific job of building. But when it's failure, it's usually because the product team did not make the right calls and what to build and how to market it and how to push it, right? So that's why I feel like they both need to work pretty closely with each other and have each other's back and make sure that the product is heading in the right direction.
Yeah, that was really a good suggestion for how to have a better collaboration between the two roles. The empathy is very important. That's great. Thank you for sharing. So we're getting to the end of our time here. Do you have any final thoughts on the topic to share with our fellow product marketers and product managers?
Yeah, I don't think in terms of what can I share with the world and inspire and everything, but I strongly advocate for product leaders. Like I was talking about earlier, like it's not product management as a separate function and product marketing as a separate function. So modern product leaders, they need to be good with both of them. If you're a product manager, you need to understand how your product is going to be taken to the market and what kind of assets will you need to create along the way. So that's where the product led growth initiative has started rising. So your product itself can do a ton of things that the product marketing function, the sales function, and everything else is, the business in general is doing. So you can think of how can you leverage your product to sell itself, to market itself, to drive them through the funnel. And similarly, on the product marketing side, it is important to understand how your product is getting built. So usually we follow the web journey route and the customer journey route. And at a high level, we understand individual pain points, and that's sufficient. But it doesn't hurt to double click into the pain points like the product managers do. Usually we rely on the product managers to create that matrix of, here are the pain points and here is what our product does and here is what competition does and here is what we are planning to do. So everything is being done by product management, and that's wonderful. But at the same time, like as a modern product marketer and product leader, you would want to influence that heavily. You would want to partner with the product manager wherever possible to give him ideas about how we could leverage product to capture the kind of data that we need to make the decisions along the way. Like for example, like when I was at Progress Data Direct, I would always look for, okay, people are downloading the product, but I don't know if they're installing. It's not a SaaS product, right? So I there was this huge gap in terms of, I know where people are coming to my website from, and whether or not they're downloading the product. And eventually, I don't know. It's like a limbo. I don't know if they're installing it. And only information that comes back eventually is like when an opportunity gets created, when they're buying the product, right? In between, why are they failing? Were they able to successfully install and then saying I don't like this product, or were they able to not install it and hence give up, right? So that's like a very critical piece of information. So this is where you work with the product manager and have him instrument the product in such a way that you're getting these analytics back and you're able to track this information. So again, like empathizing with the product manager world, and like a product manager is able to have a better relationship with the engineer because he understands their language, a product marketer can build a better relationship with product manager if he understands the product manager's language better. So thinking in terms of the product managers had similarly, like it's a back and forth and they work together and eventually hopefully like they merge and become like a single organization and make sure that complete products are being built that are, it's like a factory. You're building the right things and you're selling it through the right channels and you're saying the right things at every
Yeah,
point.
this is awesome. This is great. Thank you for sharing with us today. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It was my pleasure. Yeah, eventually, if people are listening to this podcast and they like something, they did not like something, I would love to hear that because I have always been thinking in terms of philosophies and also general directions, right? So this is what I believe in. But if there are like counter thoughts or something that you love about it, I would love to know that, and then I can build on top of that as
Sounds like a product manager.
well. Or a product marketer.
Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to This is Product Marketing, brought to you by Product Marketing Hive, a product marketing community that gives back. Check out our website, productmarketinghive.com, to join our community, meet fellow product marketers, and access free resources, including training, playbooks, templates, and events. If you enjoyed our podcast, please subscribe and give a 5-star rating on the platform of your choice. See you next time.